Welcome back to Nick Lenz's movie review, episode number 60. Yeah, this is my second. Now, this is my second take of doing this video because for some reason the file decided not to save, so I have to say everything I said in my previous video, the video I just recorded, all over again. This I'm viewing Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Like with the last film, this film has some problems with it, though somewhat understandable problems and complete unnecessary problems, like lack of explanation for certain things. Now, I have brought up the fact that, well, the thing with the Star Trek franchise, it has sort of a curse with it. The odd number films are bad, the even number films are good. Here's the thing about Search for Spock. This is actually one of two odd number films I consider to be good. The other, of course, being Star Trek Generations. I'll get to that in a future video. Now, the film itself has a very fantastic villain in the film, portrayed, of course, by the awesome Christopher Lloyd. One of two villain roles he's ever assumed in his entire career. The other, of course, being Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. As far as I can tell, those are the only two villain characters I can think he's ever portrayed, because almost any other film I've seen this guy in, he's always portraying the hero. Like Doc Brown, Back to the Future, or the lead angel in Angels in the Outfield, or Angels in the End Zone. Stuff like that. Yeah. This film has some stuff in this film that is never explained, not even thoroughly. Like, let's start off with the opening sequence of the film. We have a Klingon woman who hired a group of human mercenaries to transport her and this data tape over to this Klingon ship, which just happened to be sitting here for all this frickin' time, and it basically transferred data. Her name was Marta, and apparently she saw it wasn't on a tape, and he later killed her for it. Of course, she probably accepted it. Yep. As for when the heck this happened, never explained. Yeah, what data did she steal? The Genesis data. Yep, which apparently Genesis is apparently a galactic controversy. Somehow. How the heck this was accomplished, I have no idea. But the film, before they get to that, they start off with like, okay, fair amount of damage for us, I'm perfectly fine. And Spock's orders were sealed, and like Chekhov had to take over science officer, even though he's the weapons officer. For some reasons like this, I have no idea why. Yep. And well, everything's going perfectly normal. Of course, they mentioned that we have service when they get back to Earth. Yeah, probably something. For everybody who freaking died in the last film, they don't bring up like. But I remember, I think it was from the notation for this film, is that Peter, who is Scotty's nephew, he actually wasn't shot into space like everybody else. Yeah, Scotty wanted to take him to Earth and bury him in Scotland. Yes. That actually was from that's from the notation. That's actually not from the film. Yeah. But nephew himself is never mentioned in the film at all. Whereas mentioned the whole thing about maybe a miracle worker. Yeah, that's a recurring phrase throughout the rest of the films, and of course brought up in his sole appearance in Star Trek Next Generation, Relics. By far one of my personal favorite episodes of the whole series. Mainly because appearance of Scotty. Yeah. And of course, let's see. They get back to Earth, and it's like, Kirk's like, I don't feel about our progress with Genesis. It's like, silent. And it's never brought up exactly why at that point until they bring it back to Earth. Somehow, it's particularly very strange. Yes. So yeah, they get back to Earth, and apparently this one lieutenant sees the battle damage. She just shakes her head, like, and she's never brought up again. Why the heck this woman was here? Who is this woman? Never explained. They never brought up again. She apparently is basically shaking her head and seeing what the Enterprise ignition is. And yeah. Also, yeah, the whole sequence of the Enterprise going into this particular station, the shot itself will be reused in an episode of Star Trek Next Generation, in the episode featuring the Binars, their first appearance in live action. It's episode 010101. Simple as that. Yeah, it's an episode from season 1 of the show. By far, in my opinion, probably the best episode of season 1. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Though they use it's basically a similar style Starbase, but it's orbiting different planets, not orbiting Earth. Yeah, of course, this space station would reappear in the following film, and that's it. I think it did appear. If I remember, I think it appeared in motion picture. It appears in this film, the following film, and that's it. That's the only time the space station appears. It was when they're inside the space dock. They each used the Excelsior, which appears like one at a time in the film, and once it has a very hilarious sequence. So after this, the Excelsior would have a scene on screen again until the events of Undiscovered Country. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the guy who is the captain is very arrogant and very pig-headed. Yeah, and he's so full, and he has probably the biggest. His ego is bigger than Kirk's. Yes, I'll explain in a minute. Yeah, they have this Admiral on board, which we have never seen this character before. Yeah, this is one of like 2 scenes featuring this character. The other, of course, time is, well, Kirk explaining to him about the whole thing with Spock. And that's all we see of this character, because he's never brought up again, because he's played by a different actor when this character pops up again in Undiscovered Country. Yep. They do vaguely reference him in Voyage Home, but yeah, there's no appearance by him at all. Yeah. And this character, I do not like this character. He says 2 things that I don't get. That 1, I think is a really inaccurate line, and 2, when the heck did this happen? Okay, he mentions that the Enterprise has been decommissioned, despite the fact we won't refit. Nope, we're gonna decommission it because it's old. Oh yeah, and this I call bullcrap on, because of all the other materials I've looked up online when it comes to this. He says the Enterprise is 20 years old. That is inaccurate. The ship is over 40 years old. It had been 20 years since the first refit of this damn ship. And I'm like, where the heck is get this information on things that's 20 years old? No, it's over 40. Yeah, they says, oh yeah, because it's an old ship. Tell her the freaking Excelsior was active in the 24th century. Explain that, you bullcrap admiral. Oh yeah, and he says that the Genesis project became a galactic controversy. When the heck did this happen? Yeah, the film itself never bothers to explain how the heck this bothered to happen. Like, there's so much negativity over the freaking Genesis project that it become so mass hysteria, it's been deemed classified top secret. And apparently, the only people allowed to go to this freaking planet is the science team. Really? Why not have the freaking Enterprise go back there? They've actually been to the damn planet. But no, let's just have this one freaking team who's freaking defenseless, who has no freaking weapons. And they pretty much get destroyed with the freaking Klingons. Yeah. Of course, they go back on Earth, and they show up Kirk's fancy apartment, which he can afford on an admiral's salary. In its second appearance, I forgot to mention in my last video, his awesome looking apartment. That after this film, this apartment never appears ever again in the films. It doesn't pop up in Voyage Home, Final Frontier, or even Undiscovered Country. That, I think, was probably a fault of the filmmakers not showing up this awesome apartment, and why they couldn't have a regular TV show. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this. I didn't mention this in my video that was lost, that this one was released the same year as Terminator 1. Yes, The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Biehn, Linda Hamilton. Released the same year. Yep. Always seemed to be that whenever Star Trek comes out, a very famous sci-fi movie comes out the very same year. First Star Trek film, Alien. Second Star Trek film, Flash Gordon. This one, The Terminator, even though it was shot in 1983. Yep. And when they show up the science vessel, the Grissom, the most awkward looking ship ever designed in the history of Star Trek, where there is no neck to this damn thing. Yeah. And this captain is completely stupid. They want to bring up this freaking, like, just to examine aboard this. I mean, this is a science vessel. This is something sciencey. And you don't bring it to the planet. Okay? And here's some more stuff this movie doesn't want to explain. Apparently, there's some microbes in space around Genesis that somehow got on Spock's tube and got on the freaking surface. Yeah, this by far was never explained, and the next time we're seeing guy transformed into a freaking worm. Which was basically killed by Kern in an act of strength. Which, gotta praise the guy for doing that. And apparently this planet is already shot various different environments, including snow. Oh yeah, maybe Spock in his home, apparently he is like a little boy, and then he gets aged quickly. Yeah, he says it's related to the Genesis planet, somehow it's causing the age. How the heck is that even possible? Yeah, another thing this film doesn't bother to explain. Yeah, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, those would be curious though about that Eagle captain of the Excelsior, where he got that weapon from that he carries around with him. Yeah, if I remember right, he got that from a Klingon. Yeah, he took him from Klingon after he killed him. Yep, that's basically where he got it from. A captain so full of himself. Yeah, and from what I heard, after the events of this film, the guy basically got kicked out of Starfleet for his bullcrap ego. Yep. Though he did reappear in Forged from Fire, where he got killed by the albino character who appeared in one episode of Deep Space Nine. Yeah. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah. There's a couple of really good there's a couple of really good sequences in here. One is the stealing of the Enterprise, and the other one is, of course, the brief battle between the Enterprise and the Klingon ship, the one that was to steal. Yep. What else? Of course, there is now, as for why the Excelsior got sabotaged, that was explained by Scotty sabotaging it. At least that got an explanation. A lot of the other stuff that happens in this film does not get a proper explanation, or gets never explained at all. Massive plot holes. Of course, in this film, we also have Saavik in the film, back in the previous film, though portrayed by a different actress. This one by Robin Curtis, who just appeared in the next film, and then she's never seen again for the rest of the series. She just appeared in the novels, doesn't appear in live action. Oh yeah, and years later, she and Spock got married. Yep. And it was rumored that she got pregnant because of the stuff that happens in the scene that happened in this film, where they officiate Ponfar, the act of mating every 7 years. Yeah, from what I've heard, that is actually something that's inaccurate related to Ponfar. It's something related to biology, and Vulcans have sex whenever the heck they want. Yep. Oh yeah, and when the Grissom was destroyed, apparently it's vaporized. Even though that's not how destruction of starships actually work. Somehow it's completely destroyed, leaving any wreckage at all. Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have another change to the bridge, despite the fact that the captain's chair looks pretty much the same, somewhat. Even though when you look at it, looks like a freaking desk chair. Yeah, I'm not kidding about this. If you look at the captain's chair on this ship, it looks like a desk chair you see in an office, painted pink. I'm like, what? What the heck is this? Like, what happens to the captain's chair they have from the last? I mean, I would say the best captain's chair is one from the original show. Yeah. What else? Yeah, how they explain how Genesis is destroyed, like how it's blown up because they use proto matter in the Matrix for the Genesis Matrix. Yeah, that's a complete retcon. Yeah, retconning something for a planet looks perfectly fine one film, and the next one's being destroyed. What? Like, you're thinking, what two films had this in common that came out recently? Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Very similar plot point that those films ripped off from this film. For these two films. Yep. I'm trying to think what else was. Anything else I missed? Hmm. Yeah. When they have later on in the film when they have Kirk fight Kern, awesome sequence. And well like races of ground and some good like hand to hand combat and at least it show that Kern is a very competent fighter, despite the fact he basically falls off a freaking cliff, tries to take Kirk with him, and he does the infamous sequence using Kirk uses boots that I have had enough of you, and somehow kicks him, calls him to fall off the cliff, and it has a very strange cutaway sequence where it causes his body disappear. It's implied it fell into the lava stuff this whole planet is causing. And somehow he got his hands on his communicator, somehow, that caused him and Spock to beam him to the Klingon ship, which also, apparently the entire crew died, with the exception of like one person. Actually, with the exception of about 3 other people, aside from the captain. Yes. They also have another inaccurate line when it comes to the Klingons in the film. Yeah, the Klingons are portrayed very competently in this film. Where they say, the ship they're on is a ship full of a dozen officers and men. Which, if you look at the ship, that is a completely inaccurate statement. This ship its size can fit at least 100 people on board. Because, well, the ship itself is known for basically cramming a lot of soldiers on board. As for why they say that, no idea. Also, they have the self-destruct sequence, which, yeah, I wasn't now when initially first saw this. I'm not really surprised that a ship like this would have self-destruct sequence. It's the way they show from the film is so bizarre. Like first you have the bridge floor, and show various corridors, and of course you have various like things like evaporate from the thing from the sauce section. It blows up, and of course causes the pod section to shift the crash land on Genesis. And that's last we see of the original Starship, where they all get beamed up to the Klingon ship. Yeah. Of course, they go to Vulcan after this, because, and that's of course where her is. Yeah, that's another thing that never explained in this film. Why isn't her involved in all this stuff? Yeah, one of the many things this film doesn't bother to explain. It's like, oh, we have a woman who basically is about 50, and she's being hit on by a guy who's basically just out of the academy. Yeah, it's an odd sequence. Like, yeah, this eventually puts him in the freaking closet. And then after that one scene, she's never seen again until the very end of the film. Yeah, and apparently she doesn't know anything about the whole thing about stealing the Enterprise, or the fact it's freaking gone. Yeah, I mean, she probably does know about the stealing the Enterprise, she doesn't know it was freaking gone. Yeah. Yeah, and I do like the fact that they do kind of fumble around. We have Sulu, Chekhov, and Scotty basically trying to figure out how to fly a Klingon ship, which is so hilarious. And of course, they get a little better on the next film. Yeah. Let's see what else. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, almost forgot. There's one thing I almost forgot to mention. Sarek, making his first appearance in the franchise since Jerry the Babo, which had very not that good looks for Tellarites. The Andorians look pretty good for their time, but Tellarites, man, it's quite obvious they're just guys wearing freaking pig masks. Yeah, in the case of the Enterprise, this is one thing you got to at least praise the fact Enterprise improves upon making Tellarites look a heck of a lot better in this show than they did in the original series. The Andorians did get improvement as well, but they had a very good look in the original series. Though they kind of look like old men. That's how they had the look in the original series. They had wrinkles for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just an older thing. They like, here's the thing. They only showed 2 Andorians the whole episode. They never show a female Andorian. The first time they ever showed a female Andorian was actually Enterprise. That was the first time they ever showed a female Andorian. It's too bad they never saw a female Tellarite. Yeah. Though Mark Leonard, the guy who portrayed Sarek, he did appear briefly in Most Adventure. He returns for this film. He appears in the following film. He appears in Undiscovered Country. He appears roughly in 2 other films and like 2 episodes of Next Generation, and that's all you see of the character. Despite the fact he does appear frequently in the novels. Oh, in case you're wondering, is there any comics novels set between Wrath of Khan and Search of Spock? technically there is. Not much time is set between this film and the previous one. Yeah, not much time. And there's a comic that gets ignored by them. And this one comes out where this is, of course, after Spock dies. Kirk gets a demotion to captain. Saavik becomes his first officer. Of course, he asked to be demoted. Not the way it actually happened at episode 4 in the fourth film. But yeah. Though this one completely ignores that. Deep is not canon. And DC apparently followed that show by completely ignoring that continuity. Yeah. Though that first arc of that series did set up Worf on Next Generation. You at least get praised for that. Otherwise, though, that's really it for this particular review. It's a good, interesting story for the film. I like the story, the sets, the acting. Though it doesn't have a lot of memorable moments like Wrath of Khan does. I mean, the most memorable scene in the whole film was stealing the Enterprise being stolen. Well, at least the bridge to senior staff stealing the Enterprise. That's the most that's one of the two most memorable sequences of the whole film. The other, of course, being Kirk versus Kern on the planet Genesis. There are a few others, but those two come to mind when it comes to this particular film. Though it has a very bizarre ending to it that kind of sets us up for the next couple of films that, even though it kind of gets fixed in the next film, but they kind of undo it with the following film. Now, I should point out, this film was the first of 2 films directed by Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy also directed the next film as well. I can explain why there's a long absence between this film and the whole film, that we just showed briefly at the end for say one line. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I got 4 videos coming tomorrow. Reviews of Dragon Ball Super, One Piece, Boruto, and another movie review, which will review The Voyage Home. Yep. But see you next video. Bye.